Ah, yes, Game Boy. One of the greatest ever selling consoles, handheld systems that you could ever find, or still will ever find. They're a jewel if you can find one that's working, and it's crazy. I, however, never had that luxury of having a Game Boy. However, I had the Game Boy Color. This thing was amazing. I traveled around with this everywhere. We go to PEI and like just long road trips, and I would take this with me. Hours of amusement. Although this thing is in pretty rough condition, the screen is all scratched because someone took a tack and scribbled all over it. But it still works perfectly. Still turns on. One thing that's wrong with this though is that the speaker doesn't work because I lent it out to someone and she no longer works. But everything else is fine. It's perfect. Anyway, I want to start out for one reason or another. I had this crazy urge to make a video, so I'm gonna introduce you guys to my Game Boy Color or my Game Boy collection. I only have three games in particular for the Game Boy Color, but about five or six of them from the Game Boy. First one I ever had was actually Pokemon Pinball, but it stopped working one day, and I took it back to the store, and they gave me a refund, and I got to buy this Pokemon Yellow Special Pikachu Edition. Very good game. It's I don't care who you were, but when you were like around 8 years old or living in the 90s at the time, you were into Pokemon. I don't care who you were, you liked Pokemon. So when this game came out, after the Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue versions, they people just freaked and said, "Holy crap, this is a good game." Basically, Pikachu followed you around, unlike in Red and Blue, where you just walked around by yourself. Pikachu actually grew more and more attached to you as the game went on. I guess that's all I have to say with that. Second game I had, which is pretty fun because, well, it's Bomberman, Pocket Bomberman in particular. I had the Bomberman game for the SNES. Uh, awesome game, just really fun. One complaint though was that there's only like it, the gameplay is just kind of awkward and it's very easy to die. I've gotten through the game like without having to restart uh, like two or three times, but it's a good game if you like a challenge. Now another game that I had when I was a kid was actually Prince of Persia, but I sold that, and I guess what came on later was Pac-Man. It's really good. I was surprised by like how well it actually was. It just like the arcade version made very well. Uh, and I think there also may be Tetris on here. I'm not sure. Still a very good game. Now this game I bought from a friend, or I don't even think I bought it. He just gave it to me. Was Link's Awakening. This is the most fucked up game I've ever seen. It's chewed. It's scratched. There's no label. It's just insane. Now, one thing I have to laugh about is that the guy who gave me this game didn't know how much this is worth today. This game can go for about $200 to $230 uh, unopened, like in the unopened package. This, however, I'd only say is only worth about 50 just because of the condition. But it's not a bad game. It's hard, but still the classic Zelda game. Now these games here I got from my cousin. She just gave up on Nintendo and stuff, and so I got this one. It's Pokemon Blue. Basically, just goes along with the Pokemon Yellow and Red. Again, I have the Red right here. Um, Very good games. They're very similar. The only way you can collect all 150 Pokemon or something is by trading back and forth between these two games. Each game had a different amount of Pokemon, and some Pokemon you can only get in this game, so you had to trade them over this with a link cable. And I actually have a link cable, but I'm not going to show you because I don't have enough time. Another game that I had when I was a kid was golf. I got it from the same friend who gave me Link's Awakening. Um, anyway, golf was just horrible. It was just horrible. You couldn't play it at all. So a few years later, I got this game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories. In this game, you can take the serial number of a card and put it into the game, and you could use it as you wanted in the game. It's fairly good game. There's codes to get get a final boss, and it was still a good game. Although I didn't care much for the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. One game that people call a classic, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. This one was it's basically a perfect recreation of the original one for the NES. Gameplay is exactly the same. There's a little bit more color and stuff in the backgrounds, but I think all the levels are exactly the same as before. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on it. But it's a fairly good game. It has more features. It has a calendar in there. It can tell you whatever day from any year. It's very good. Very well put together. And the last one I have the last game I have for you is Pokemon Crystal. This is part of the Gold Silver brand of Pokemon. There's Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Gold. I have Pokemon Silver, but it's being lent to a friend at the moment. Anyway, this one game in particular basically just came in with a bunch of new features like the Battle Tower and you could trade between this game and Red, Blue, and Yellow if you so wanted to. Only downfall was that you couldn't have particular moves in the Pokemon that these Pokemon here had into the other games. So you had to go and reconfigure some of the Pokemon before you could even try to trade them. Another thing that came out for the Super Nintendo was a Super Game Boy. This allowed you to play any of these games on it. They are still part of the Game Boy, and you can play all those on here without the staring at this small screen right here. It was really good because this had different borders for each game, and you could change the borders on most games, but others it just wouldn't let you. If you were trying to play a Game Boy Color game, it just wouldn't work because it's not compatible. It would say on the back of the box, compatible with the Super Game Boy. So I guess that's my collection right now of these games, and don't really have much more to say. So if you actually have any games to donate to me to help me expand my collection, send me an email or a message on YouTube, and I will get back to you. Have fun.